Hello, welcome back. Welcome to West Coast of Scotland. I thought of sitting down together with someone special right here
Oh, I'm special.
to tell you a little bit about what has been happening behind the scene and, a bit of personal update because I thought, why not? So we are in Scotland here visiting your family.
hmm Yeah, I have grandma and auntie and uncle here, and lots of cousins. We used to come here a lot when I was a young boy.
Yes, but basically the big news is I am moving to the UK permanently for good
hmm
because we are getting married sometime in June this summer. Actually, a day after your birthday and a couple
Yeah.
of days after my birthday. So it's going to be somewhat special, intimate, and small.
Yeah, just not going to be many people there.
Yeah,
About 30 people. 'Cause,
yeah.
Yeah, we had a long sort of process
To get to this point.
to get to this point with visas and everything. So.
Yeah.
There was a bit of uncertainty around that, so we just decided to do something small, just with like a few family members and
Yeah.
friends.
And I guess because it's a huge milestone, since I don't know where to start. I guess the fact that I have been traveling a lot, traveling alone since 2013, started my travel abroad in 2014 until actually I pursued long-term travel in 2016 and left Indonesia for good. And I guess since 2018 trying to do YouTube full time with Indonesia passport, trying to keep it together. And how do you keep doing this as a job while funding the trip at the same time, finding balance into all of that? And it's very challenging, I suppose.
It's difficult to settle mentally with life on the road, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously the traveling is completely different with vacation, and when I'm traveling solo, I do the trip for YouTube as the job, and the trip itself is no longer my trip because it's no longer my intimate journey with myself. It is something that intended for the entertainment and education for the audience, as much as how you have to take into consideration so many different aspects, because then you can't just decide, okay, I'm going to this particular place without actually thinking the concept of what the video is going to be
What
like.
are you going to film there? How are you going to present it?
Yes,
How are you
and the research process that goes into it. And sometimes doing this takes a lot more time offline than being online. But also the downside of having Indonesian passport is I don't have many access to be able to stay anywhere for longer than 30 days. And having very few countries that allows me to stay for 30 days itself are not that many, and it's not as quite accessible countries to go to. Yeah.
It doesn't really. You prefer the sort of longer travel, don't you? Slower
Yes,
travel.
yes,
It's a bit difficult
yes.
if you can only stay in a place for 30 days at a
Yes.
time. And I think it's some people don't probably feel that restriction because they like to, spend 1 week in this country, 1 week in this country, 1 week in this country. But if you want to spend more time there, it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, and I guess when you do full-time travel, it is your life, meaning that you're not there to vacation. And if you move so much, it wears you down, I guess. You have to keep adjusting to new places. How do you navigate yourself around? And in order for the video creation as the main focus to happen, I can't just roam around without actually thinking, oh, what am I going to do in this country? The time is quite limited, and how do I create an interesting content or travel series? And I guess being a one-woman show, you have been great in providing me in a lot of emotional support as my online and offline therapist. But also for our relationship for the past 3 years, we've been in a long distance relationship, and
It's been sort of on off long distance because we spend when we leave each other, we don't know, which is the country that we can next see each other, or how long it's going to be between, because it depends on my work a bit, because I work here in England.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't know where you're going to be beyond the next 2 or 3 months, so it's...
but also, usually you would come to where I'll be, because it's a lot easier for you to do so.
It's been a good excuse for me to travel.
Yes, but also at the same time, I think even then, we are not actually off doing vacationing, because you'll be either doing several projects and you are still having commitment to work.
I can't have that much time off to visit, so often when we're visiting I'll just be working and you'll be either filming or preparing your next series or editing or something.
So it's great to spend time
it's really
like that.
It's a good privilege to have been able to
we are very privileged and
be able to see all these different countries
grateful
together and live there and
but at the same time, I think it is also nice to ground ourselves as a couple.
I think it's like after 3 years of it, you kind of crave a little bit of normality, knowing that at least we can see each other, or that you have a visa to be in the same country as me in somewhere, and or that there's enough time. Because although it's nice spending 6 weeks somewhere, 6 weeks goes so quickly, and then you're just like, when
6 weeks
if like
not all the time. Sometimes even only like 3 weeks.
3 weeks,
and sometimes when you are in a long distance relationship, the first week would be about adjustment again. Like, how do you be physically with each other and get...
Because when you're only communicated through a screen, when you see someone in real life again, it's like, oh, your voice sounds different, you look different. So yeah.
But anyway, I think we did well for the past 3 years, and we have been excited to move forward with the relationship and being physically together legally, and not having to worry about all those stuff. And I guess it's
all been sort of going on in the background, hasn't it? Because just in amongst your editing and whatever, we've been trying to do the visa applications and work out what to do, and
a lot of paperwork and having to prove everything.
Well, we didn't really want to share much until that's all actually sorted.
But I guess the exciting part is actually having a home base together. I think transitioning to the fact that I am a bit more settled, and for the past few months it hasn't been settled yet. I guess it is taking some time, more than just, because I guess it's different when you travel and you're going to leave a place, but it's also different when this is going to be a home country eventually, and there is a sense of gratefulness for sure in being able to stay without having to think, okay, I have to leave in yada because the visa is going to run out, while at the same time trying to research work and video and stuff like that. But what else? I guess it's
having been on the road for, I know it's been, at the beginning it was just trips, but it's been effectively 8 years of travelling to some extent, and I think it will take a while for you to adjust to, like, okay, this is actually a home base now, because we lived in Nepal together for a while, obviously for like 11 months, but it was, we always knew
we were going to leave.
We always knew it was coming to an end, because we didn't have a residency there or anything. So, but this is like, okay, this is actually
place that
going to be for like long term now. So it's a different sort of mentality, which will probably take a while to adjust to. But it's really exciting to actually be in this position now, because it's been a long time. I guess working towards that. And
Scotland has been beautiful, and England. We actually live in England. We don't live in Scotland, but we're visiting a family.
Although we're tempted now that
we are very tempted. But the place that we live in England, northwest of England, I guess, and also here, it's a lot more rural and quieter, and I really appreciate those aspects, definitely. But at the same time, I'm hoping, this is the thing that I'm still considering, I'm hoping to kickstart my journey throughout Scotland if it's possible.
It's still sort of in planning stages, isn't it? But there's I haven't, to be honest, I haven't even seen Scotland, so I'll have to do it one day. But you thinking of going up north somewhere. I think northwest Scotland is very beautiful. It's got some amazing mountains and everything, and probably people who haven't been to the UK before probably aren't aware of the
The fact that Scotland is part of the UK.
Well, maybe that, but more just that there is that kind of scenery in the UK, because you sort of think of it as just rolling hills and a bit flat and whatever. But
I guess I'm still adjusting to the fact that things are in pound sterling and it is expensive for sure, and you can't just be spontaneous at times. Yeah, I'm a bit scared, of course. Every time you start a new series, there's a sense of uncertainty, and you create something. It's such an abstract process with creative work. You don't know where you'll end up. You have a sort of sense of idea where or how it's going to be, but sometimes it's not going to happen like that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Is it cold?
It's a bit cold.
Yeah.
Like, it looks very kind of serene and nice, but
it's been very windy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's windy, but also these rocks aren't particularly comfortable to sit on for a long time.
But the sun is setting, actually.
Yeah.
The sun is setting and it's beautiful.
On the Isle of Arran behind us.
Yeah. What, do you have anything to say that you want to say? I mean,
not really, other than
what do you want to say that you know as part of my journey behind the scene to keep this YouTube thing going that people don't know?
I guess you know, when people see travel videos or your videos, you see the sort of very happy kind of, you know, the presenter side of you, where, you know, you're smiling, you're engaging with locals, and I think, you know, you have a sort of like unique ability there to connect with people and all that sort of stuff, but people don't see how much energy that takes out of you. Like when I first saw a video of yours, I would think that, oh, she's quite an extrovert person, you know, oh, she's a very people-y person, but it's actually couldn't be more opposite. I mean, I thought I was introvert until I met her. So, you know, just the energy that it takes to not only meet new people all the time, but film it, like film yourself, film the interactions with them, and to bridge that sort of gap with them where, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable to speak to people you don't know, especially in a country where you don't speak the language, let alone go there with a camera and film with them and film them, and to bridge that sort of language barrier and gap to not only meet them but also film them, and
film
I think
the interaction and find that interaction.
And I think, you know, for people who are maybe extrovert, they get their energy from people, maybe it's a bit easier, but for you, you know, people don't see how much work goes on behind the scenes to get yourself into that mental state to be able to do that, and I know you care an awful lot about not only just going and filming, but, you know, showing real people's lives, telling a good story, you know, thinking, how can I
make them feel good offline?
Make the people you're with feel good, feel special, but also like tell a story that's interesting to the audience, and to go to places maybe people wouldn't necessarily think to go to. And so there's that side of things. So, you know, people don't see how exhausting it is for you, and how much you, I guess, you have that. You know, I'm a solo woman traveller, but you also need the support as well in order to keep it going and to feel safe, I guess, or to feel comfortable. And then obviously the other side of it, the editing side of it, the business side of it. I mean, a lot of people. You know, from my perspective, outside as not a YouTuber or involved in YouTube, really, it's like a lot of people in your position take sponsorship deals and all this sort of stuff, whereas, you know, there's a whole side of that which is you need to be a business person, and I know that side of it's really you find that bit quite tiring, and which is why you haven't, you know, taken sponsorships, and
which is not very viable, because realistically making travel series is expensive, and sometimes the income that comes from YouTube is just it's very it looks glamorous, and maybe people from, you know, certain places in the with
world,
North American audience or European audience, then but
you would think, you know, however many subscribers she must be making this money from ad revenue, but it's surprising how much that isn't true. But
so I guess there's that uncertainty as well as the creators.
So anyway, I think just generally behind the scenes, I think it's how much effort and work goes into just a simple travel series, and the editing process and the planning process, and you know, I think it's the fact that you've been powering through for this long on your own, doing everything yourself is. I certainly wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, I cry a lot, so, and he's the one who will listen to me and
Yeah.
all of that. But anyway, I think it's getting cold.
Yeah, so I'm starting to shiver. But
Anyway, I think there's that. I mean, I don't know. This is just a casual update because I think social media, I try to keep my safe distance and professional distance between an audience and me as a creative. But at the same time, I think it is a great news to share. It is a happy news to share that we're getting married, to celebrate that. Yeah, I'm excited for the future that we are going to experience together.
And I'm sure there'll be lots more travel and lots more together
staying at
as well.
home. Yay! Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again. Until then, see you. Bye.